In the end, we finally understood why it's called a time called you. They were each other's time. Time meant nothing, as they were engrossed in a repeating cycle of fate. A Time Called You is a Netflix original time travel romance Korean drama, featuring the multi-talented hyo-seop and Jeon Yeo-bin. The actors' ability to pull off different facets of their characters needs to be applauded. From 18-year-old high schoolers to college students, and then 36-year-old successful workers. This fantastic drama draws you in as you go through various emotions with the characters, yet it confuses you. It's not a drama you would just binge watch. In this case, you'd find yourself stopping to make sense of what you just watched. When you think you've figured it out, it throws you a curveball. It's entertaining at its best, yet confusing at times. That's why today, I'm going to explain the K-drama A Time Called You. Make sure to watch to the end, as I intend to clear up all your confusion about the drama. But first, be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification bell to be among the first to see our content. The whole time travel and repeating fate thing started with Min-ju in 1998 and Joon-hee in 2023. Min-ju, who was already living a difficult and depressing life, was smitten with Sihian. But because Joon-hee interfered in their lives from the future 2023, she ended up committing suicide. Before Joon-hee's interference, Min-ju gave Sihian, her crush, a cassette song by Seo-ji-won, hoping that the music would take him to his happiest moment. Meanwhile, as it was her birthday, the two friends, Sihian and ENG, gave her a cassette player as a gift. These two gifts became a time machine that transported its listeners to a time when they were happiest, as long as there was someone who looked like them at that time. First, let me explain how 1998 played out after Han Joon-hee's unconscious interference. When Joon-hee took over Min-ju's body in 1998, Min-ju became trapped in a time loop, where she watched and listened to all that Joon-hee did. She watched her become someone that people loved, she watched her raise her popularity among peers, and above all, she got the love she had longed for from Sihian, her crush. When she finally takes back control of her body, she tries to mimic Joon-hee but is found out by Sihian, who is now in love with Joon-hee and knows her gaze. Frustrated with the life she met after Joon-hee had occupied her body, and her inability to keep up, she decides to let Chan-young, who is inhabiting his elder brother's body from 2023, kill her. She made this decision after witnessing Joon-hee's memories. From Joon-hee's memories, she knows that if she dies in 1998, she won't be forgotten, as Joon-hee and Sihian's lives will still revolve around her. Knowing that Joon-hee will come back to 1998, she tries to manipulate them by tearing out a page of her journal, and telling Joon-hee that Sihian is Yeon-jun, whom she misses terribly after his presumed death. But her plans failed as Chan-young was awakened and arrested by the police in 2023 for killing Sihian. Because of this, he was unable to kill her, as his elder brother recovered possession of his body. Unable to keep on living, she commits suicide by falling from the building. Because of his guilt for failing to save her, ENG claimed that he killed her and was imprisoned. Sihian, on the other hand, traveled to America as planned with his family. However, in 2002, during the World Cup, he visited Korea to see his imprisoned friend ENG. But when ENG rejected the visit, he decided to visit Noksan. On the way, their bus had an accident, and he slipped into a coma while listening to Seo-ji-won's song on the cassette player. This made him travel through time to 2007 and inhabit Yeon-jun's body. Yeon-jun, before Sihian inhabited his body, was in love with Tae-ha, and was on a road trip with him when they were involved in a ghastly accident that took Taeha's life, while Yeonjun slipped into a coma. When Sihian woke up in Yeonjun's body, he realized that all that Junhee had said in 1998 was true. While he was in Yeonjun's body, his own body was still in a coma. He then recreated the life that Junhee had described to him in 1998 with the aid of Minju's uncle. He meets Junhee in college, and they both fall in love. However, unaware of their fated cycle, Junhee decided to travel to New York to work for a year. Desperate to be with her, Yeonjun books a flight to join her in New York, despite knowing from Junhee's story that Yeonjun died in a plane crash. He, however, runs into his other self, who had woken up from a coma in 2002 but now walks with a limp because of the accident. His main self, in his real body, asks him not to board the plane, as the plane will crash. But because they are aware that his death will send Junhee back to 1998, he decides to board the plane. Because of this, Yeonjun dies, and Sihian wakes up in his real body in 2002. Back in 2002, Sihian met with In-gyu, who had been discharged from prison. Convinced that In-gyu wasn't the person who killed Minju, and aware that In-gyu will commit suicide, he sticks by him. He knows this because of his memories as Yeonjun, as Minju's uncle had told him as Yeonjun, that In-gyu had committed suicide in the same place Minju had died. But in the end, he was unable to save In-gyu, who was ridden with grief about his grandmother's death. This time, Sihian, who is in his real body, lives life as himself, hidden from Junhee. He waited until 2023, a year after Yeonjun's death, to set his plan in motion. He planned with Minju's uncle to send Junhee back to 1998 with the cassette player, hoping that they would prevent Minju's death this time and also save In-gyu. This is where it becomes tricky. When Junhee goes back to 1998 for the second time, with the knowledge of Minju and Yeonjun's deaths, she tries to prevent Minju's death, which hadn't occurred yet. Seeing Sihyun reminded her of her dead boyfriend, Yeonjun, unaware that Yeonjun had been Sihian. When she finally found out, she confronted Minju's uncle, making Sihian reveal himself. When they reconnect in the present, Sihian finally gives Junhee the engagement ring he had wanted to give to her as Yeonjun. But because they were together and engaged, Junhee was unable to go back to 1998 to prevent Minju's murder. But when she confides in Chanyang about the tape and what happened in 1998, he kills Sihian and goes back to 1998 to kill Minju. This means that Junhee started the cycle in the future. If you recall, when they visited Chanhui in the psychiatric hospital, he said that they had made him do it and that it wasn't him, although he could hear and see what was going on. This means that when Chanyang went back to 1998 in Chanhui's body, he did so because of what Junhee had told him. He went back knowing the future and that Junhee was in Minju's body, so he waited for Minju to return to her body. And all this happened the night Minju had been on the street, looking for her mother and brother. After Chanhui saves her from the oncoming taxi, his brother Chanyang enters his body from the future and tries to kill her that night, but fails when his supposed masterpiece is ruined due to Minju's bleeding that night. Desperate to return to 1998 to save Minju, In-gyu, and Sihian, Junhee tries all she can to repair the cassette player Chanyang destroyed during his arrest in the present. This time, when she tries to transport herself back to 1998, she is trapped in the same time loop that Minju was trapped in when she was in her body. This could be because of the damaged player. This was when Minju took back control of her body. However, Their tragic cycle of fate ended when Junhee entered Minju's body for the last time. This wouldn't have been possible, as Minju succeeded in committing suicide and the cassette player stopped playing, and nothing she did could make it play. But she was able to go back to 1998 because of Sihian's promise to answer whenever her heart called him. This time, she went back with a better understanding of Minju, and a promise not to interfere with her life again. She made ENG destroy the tape to bring back Minju. Minju, on the other hand, now realizes that she has to look around to find the little miracles in life. Maybe she ended up with ENG. If you recall, Junhee met a young Sihian when she was 8 and was living with her grandmother at the time. Since destroying the tape changed the outcome of their future, Minju, ENG, and Sihian were saved. Sihian and Junhee's memories of one another were erased, and they lived out their natural lives. But at the end of the drama, in the year 2011, they meet on a bus on a snowy winter night. They met as strangers, inexplicably drawn to each other. I hope this explains most of the twists and turns in the drama. What are your thoughts about the drama? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you liked this content, give it a like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell for all things K-drama. Thanks for watching, bye.